All right, go ahead and call our Tuesday, September 10th council meeting to order. If you would please join me for a prayer and a pledge.
Will you pray with me? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for getting everyone here safe, and please be with them as they travel back home and keep them safe. Thank you for the beautiful weather we've had today. Thank you for the folks that we have up on the city council that are volunteering their time for no compensation whatsoever to represent the citizens and to make the best decisions possible for the whole community. I also want to give a special thanks to my staff that are here tonight to see one of theirs get an award, very important award, and please be with the family of the gentleman that had his life saved and keep him as healthy as possible for as long as possible. In your heavenly name we pray, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Lewis, Chairman Pro Tem Kennedy,
Here.
Councilwoman Oplinger. Here. Councilwoman Pettit.
Here.
Councilman Blades.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. So we'll start off with public comment. A citizen desiring to speak on an item not on the agenda may do so at this time. Each citizen is limited to 3 minutes, and the council will not take action or discuss items at this time. Discussion should be limited to matters of city business, and public comment is not permitted in regard to personnel matters or on pending legal matters. Items introduced under public comment may become agenda items at a later date. First is, excuse me for, I'm trying to, this Chad Bennett maybe? Or, okay, got it. Come on up to the podium, please.
Yeah, I'm wondering why I can't get code enforcement to take care of this. Do you want to look at them again? The mayor knows about them, and the city code enforcement knows about it, but the only thing that code enforcement did was take them off of the front of the street and have them go to the back alley now. And the tarp completely tears off of it. And I just was up there the other day, day before yesterday, and she told me we'll take it up at the meeting.
And where was it? Where was your address?
606. It's on the back of the pictures.
606 Walnut.
She said she got them to move the vehicles to the back of the alley, and that's all they were going to do.
And is this behind your house at Walnut, or is this across
It's
it?
behind, when we walk out on our deck in the back of our house,
Okay.
there it is.
So that would be what? That's an address on Hadley?
Between Kirkwood and Walnut,
Okay.
the alley.
Do we have code action on that, or?
We do.
We do have, okay. All right, I'd like to drive by and take a look at that as well. Do you have more on that one?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, all right, I'm not too far from you, so I'm gonna swing by and take a look at it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Tony Phillips.
My comments are attached to the Silver Maple Estates.
Okay,
Okay.
The
so
agenda
I'll
item later.
speak after that.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, having no further public comment, we'll move on to council forum. Councilwoman Pettit, you want to lead us off?
Sure. I went to a solid waste meeting today, and we closed out some grants. One was Purdy. I'm trying to remember the other one. Oh, it was Hanson Tree Service that does a wonderful service of picking up food, discarded food, and turning it in basically to mulch. Let's see, it was a short meeting today, so that's about all I have to report.
The puppy pool party was really fun at the pool. They shut it down every year and let the dogs swim around. So AFB donates some items to that every year. I attended the Placer AI meeting, the strategic planning meeting, and the downtown cleanup.
I have nothing to report.
I actually also had no meetings this past 2 weeks, so thank you. So we'll move on to consent agenda, which will include the approval of minutes for the regular session held on August 27th, 2024, the work session held on August 27th, 2024, and the August-September 2024 appropriations.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda for the approval of the minutes on the 27th and the City Council work section on the 27th, and also the August and September appropriations.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Old business, second reading of ordinance number 2024-3330, stop sign schedule amendment. You know,
Council will have nothing to add on that unless the council has any questions.
I have no further. All right, I'll make a motion. We approve second reading of ordinance number 2024-3330, stop sign schedule amendment.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passes.
All right, new business, 8.1, presentation of life-saving award, police department.
Good evening, council. I have an award that I'm going to present to Officer Tatum Maples. Tatum, if you want to join me up here for just a second. So what I have here is a life-saving award. It's an award recognizes Officer Tatum Maples in recognition of your heroic and quick actions on May 13th, 2024, where your presence of mind saved a life. Your selflessness, bravery, and unwavering commitment to the safety and well-being of the citizens of Aurora exemplify the highest ideals of what being a law enforcement officer are. Your actions have made a lasting impact, and we honor you with this award for your remarkable contribution to the preservation of life, dated September 10th, 2024. That is to you. Also, the American Red Cross gives approval for an accommodation to be worn on a Class A uniform, and this will be added to his Class A uniform so that he can wear that in times when we're in Class A's, which we're not in tonight. So the story here is we got a medical call. The police department started responding to medical calls when a medical call comes out. Sometimes we can get there quicker, and that was exactly what happened on this particular day up on North Elliott. The situation was that a man had gone unconscious in his living room, and his wife of many years had called 911 believing that he was dying. Tatum arrived, confirmed that that was exactly what was happening, and was able to provide CPR and life-saving measures, which kept the man alive until the ambulance was able to get there, and then transported him to the hospital. I made contact with the wife of this gentleman a few days later. She indicated that the doctors had told her that had Officer Maples not did what he did, this would be a different outcome, and she would be a widow. As a special guest, that wife is here with us tonight, so I'd like to invite you to come up. And so this is Betty Kaufman. Betty, this is...
And my family all are so grateful to you.
My pleasure.
It was That's beyond whatever we could have thought and stuff at the time, because I was almost sure that we were not gonna leave the house and stuff. And 15, 20 minutes out in the ambulance, and they said, "We're still going to Cox South." I said, "Okay, I'll be right behind you." And so we were, and that we were ready to go to Monette for a breathing test. We were getting ready to go. He wasn't wanting to go, but he was going. And so he had went to the bathroom, came back and sat down in the chair. And I was sitting at the table, and I looked over at him, and I said, "You all right?" Because they told me to watch, because had CO2 building up in his chest from COPD, and he couldn't get rid of it. And so they told me, you know, watch, and if anything happens, call 911 and all that kind of stuff. So I looked over at him, I said, "No, you're not all right." And so I ran around there, and I tried to holler at him, call his name, whatever, you know, and he just blank stare, I mean, it's nothing. And he has a O2 monitor laying on the table beside him, because he checks it all the time. And so I stuck it on his finger real fast, and it said 52.
Oh.
And I said, "Okay, where's my phone?" And so I went over and grabbed my phone, and the lady says, "You know, you need to get him on the floor." And I said, "I can't get him on the floor." I mean, you know, I can't. And so about that time, he knocked on the door, and he came in, and he got him on the floor. And he worked on him until the ambulance guys got there, which wasn't a long time, but it was a long time for Howard. Mm-hmm. It was a long time for Howard. And so he was, they, like I said, they worked on him 15, 20 minutes out on the road before they took off. And so I had called my daughter, my granddaughter. They were all over there, and so we headed to Springfield. And we got up there at the ER, and they said, "He's on a ventilator. He's not breathing on his own. We'll probably have him there in 3 or 4 days." You know, I said, "Okay." You know, so we went in there, and he was all hooked up to machines and stuff. And I'm thinking, well, did I do the right thing, or did I just left it alone, you know? And so we called family up there. The family all came over there, because we thought he was going the other way. And from all things it looked like, that's what he was going to do. And so they my granddaughter and her husband stayed up there overnight and sent us home. They said, "We're going to stay here, so you go home. There'll be somebody here. We need you, we'll call you." And I said, "Okay." So we left, and we all come home. And next morning we went back up there, and they'd put him in critical care unit, but he was still on a ventilator and stuff. And we went down there to see him, and the nurse said, "We're going to wean him off the ventilator," you know. And I said, "You are?" "Yeah, really?" You know. And they said, "Yeah, that's what we're going to do." You know, and I said, "Okay," you know. So step outside, and pretty soon, next time we go back in there, he's sitting up in the bed watching TV. And the next afternoon, and I'm going, "Really?" All of that, just really? And so anyway, so then the next afternoon, he was put in regular room, and we stayed there 10 days. And he was doing better, you know. And so we come down to Monette to swing bed and spent 10 days there before he could go home. And so then he's had physical therapy 3 times a week ever since June. And he's walked into the bathroom and into the kitchen yesterday twice, with just a little break in between times. And it's first time he'd been in the kitchen in months, for as long as he'd walked since May and stuff. So he is doing better. You kept him here for his 81st birthday on July 4th. You kept him here for our anniversary on October the 26th, if we get to there, for 61 years. So my kids, my family all tell him thank you very much. And we appreciate all of you. We really do. We really do. Really
Got any questions for that, or I think she pretty much said it?
Yeah.
I
no,
can't say anything better than she just said. So.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great work, and thank you for sharing your story. Thank you. All right, Moving to 8.2, honoring Deputy Marshal John Franklin Chambers proclamation. So I have a little bit of reading to do. So, City of Aurora, Missouri proclamation, whereas Deputy Marshal John Franklin Chambers of the Aurora Police Department served with unwavering dedication and courage, faithfully upholding the law and protecting the citizens of Aurora, Missouri, and whereas on September 19th, 1907, Deputy Marshal Chambers made the ultimate sacrifice, giving his life in the line of duty while serving the citizens of Aurora, Missouri, and whereas Deputy Marshal Chambers' bravery, commitment, and selflessness represent the highest ideals of law enforcement, and his service stands as a testament to his character and profound sense of duty he carried in his heart, and whereas the loss of Deputy Marshal Chambers, although 117 years ago, was deeply felt by his family, friends, colleagues, and the entire community, who came together these years later to continue honoring his memory and recognize the profound impact of his service. Now, therefore, I, Jason Lewis, Mayor of the City of Aurora, Missouri, by virtue and the authority vested in me by the City of Aurora, Missouri, do hereby proclaim that Deputy Marshal John Franklin Chambers shall be remembered and honored for his extraordinary service and sacrifice by the placement of a memorial stone at the Aurora Police Department located at 106 South Elliott, Aurora, Missouri. Further, I call upon the citizens of Aurora to pay tribute to his memory, to support those who continue to serve in law enforcement, and to keep alive the legacy of bravery and dedication that Deputy Marshal Chambers embodied.
What are you gonna do? About a picture?
Yeah.
Tony, go down there and take a picture. I'm gonna take your little flag.
The reason for this, council, is I just didn't feel like it was right that we didn't have something for one of our fallen officers, even though it was 1907. The PD should have something memorializing him, and so the placement of a memorial seemed appropriate right by our flags in the front yard of it.
Okay.
Why don't you guys all come up here? Come on. Come stand up here.
Excuse me.
All right, moving on to 8.3, discussion Placer AI software.
Council, I'm just taking this from the standpoint of that we were having some discussions about what our next steps are and that sort of thing. So hopefully that you got a good understanding from the presentation that Carrie was in that kind of led. Good understanding of these programs and what they can do for us and stuff. So our next steps are is that we're looking at the possibility of we can start at any time. There is some dollars if we want to start now. It's prorated for the rest of the year and to get us started now. And then there would be 2 years, a 2-year contract that we can enter into, is that if we wanted to do something like that, we could move forward with that, knowing that there would be a payment in 2025 and then also in 2026. This is something that we strongly recommend that we consider doing. There's a lot of benefit from it. So we'd just like to kind of see what you guys would like us to do.
Yeah, after the presentation, I'm all for it. So it was really well done.
What about the timing? Is this a good timing for it, or do we need, I mean, I don't know how, and you're always busy. I always look at Carrie because I feel like this is her baby. I don't know, but what about the timing of it?
I think the timing's perfect, and from a primary standpoint of where we're at with the Aurora Downtown Project and the Main Street program right now. So
Okay.
this week, we're having that next meeting with Main Street present to go over our community survey results and then start our strategic planning. And some of that is going to be response to what people said they wanted to see downtown. So I think we're in prime time for that, to have the ability to seek out the right kind of commercial improvement, development, restructuring, whatever that might be.
Okay.
So from my standpoint, I can use it for facets all over town and other departments, but I think it's perfect timing with that program that
Okay.
we're partnering on.
I would echo that from the standpoint is that if we, as we get ready to start advertising campaigns to push knowledge about the recreation center, encourage participation, the programs and the things and the programming there at the recreation center, we believe that this is also something that we would absolutely be able to use and especially help us really target our audiences this
Okay.
first year.
Okay.
I can't speak intelligently on it right now. I wasn't at the meeting, unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I've kind of glanced over the email, but I haven't gone through the entire presentation, so I would like some time to be able to go through that before I have an opinion.
We can get the recording and Carrie would be able to forward that recording to you or provide that to you.
I think you have, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
I
yeah.
sent it to the full council, I believe.
Yeah.
My only thoughts would be, I thought it was great. I think it's, it's obviously where technology is heading in terms of prediction models and different things like that. My only thought is it's so wide and it's so broad, and what, we talked a little bit about, it could be valuable to police, it could be valuable to parks, it could be valuable to multiple different, to fire. It might be worthwhile to get these departments to kind of come up with that top 3 or that kind of hit list, because when you have that much data and that much availability, you can get into kind of that paralysis mode where it's like, I don't know where to start. So if we can start those discussions early, so that way we know what we're getting out of the gate, we know what we're going to get from a value perspective, so that way it's not just, drinking from the fire hose right out of the gate. My only thoughts. But overall, I thought, as they go, I'm sure they'll have competitors in the future. Whenever we go to renew this, there'll probably be 2 or 3 other ones out there doing the same thing, and hopefully they're improving on it. But I think it looked pretty good to me, and definitely being able to see patterns and the part where you can see where people are leaving the community for certain things, that's going to be huge to figure out what we need to build on. So.
With that being said, council, then we'll work on getting a finalized contract together and to bring that back to you for consideration for approval.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, 8.4, resolution number 2024-1994, BRP Architects City Hall Restoration.
Council, can touch on this just a little bit, and then we also have our financial advisor here, Eddie McCliney, to give us some extra information on this a little bit. But overall, this is the culmination of that we've been working months and months, hand in glove, with the Department of Natural Resources that oversee the State Revolving Fund project. And what you have before you is documentation that is put together by Gilmore and Bell, who is our bond attorneys and financing attorney, that they put all of the documents together, and then also working with McCliney and his company to work through as far as getting the schedules and all the documentation touched on and covered, and then also with DNR. So it has been a lot of documentation, a lot of information going back and forth, making sure that we have everything that DNR needs for us to be able to move forward with this. So with that, I'll leave it to Eddie if he has anything to add to that.
Need to be on the City Hall restoration.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I jumped ahead.
Unlike Eddie's.
Council, this is I jumped ahead on the next one. I'm pretty excited about that one. What you have, this one is for the architects to lead us and guide us through the renovation of the City Hall building and stuff. Eddie is still here, and because he has been talking to me about the financing of that, and so he'll touch on a couple of issues about that, of some options that we might want to consider. But this is just to get us going and moving forward. This does not obligate us to anything other than starting to put the plans together, starting to put the bids together, and the construction management. So with that, I'll just give it to Eddie, and he can discuss a couple of options as far as financing.
Good evening, everyone. Nice seeing you all again. After the award given to the police officer, I really feel really small. That was impressive. Here, looking at is a potential financing for the city for renovations. All of these numbers are high. John and I have discussed this a number of times. I understand your cost is estimated to be about $800,000. This issue I'm looking at is for $845,000. I added 5%.
I thought it was 600,000.
That's what I saw on
Yeah.
that.
Okay, 600,000. Okay.
Oh, okay, then I was, well, I got 800. It would change the numbers, obviously.
Uh-huh.
I had, what we did discuss is about 1 to 10 years.
Okay.
I am doing a bond issue or a lease purchase, which is how we would finance this, which would be an annual appropriation. I used this interest rate of a 3.75. That's high in today's market. I'm doing an issue, and after this meeting, I'm going to St. Genevieve. We're doing a lease purchase in that town. The interest rate came in at closer to a 3.5. But again, this is something that's going to be coming down the road. Your issue is small enough, even at 800,000. We would love to get this rated. It would get you a lower interest rate, but the minimum fee for a rating is $15,000. Having to pay that up front would not benefit you in moving this issue forward. So that we'd look forward to doing this as a non-rated lease purchase. It will sell very well. It'll sell close to an A-rated scale because of how well your city, the reputation of your town. We'd be able, once we get a good solid number from your architect, we'll be ready to move, we could move forward at whatever speed you want us to move forward. It is something you guys, again, your credit is fantastic. We'll have no problem selling it. The issue would be in huge demand.
Awesome. Yeah, my idea would be is go as fast as we can to do the safety aspects of everything.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, we can get it done faster than than your architect, and could get this thing out to bid most likely.
Yeah.
But we want to have a good number to go forward with. One of the things I would recommend doing, and we can have Gilmore and Bell prepare it, is to get a reimbursement resolution, which is just like we did on your last issue. So you could start paying for it out of your general fund, out of money you have on hand, and then when the issue is sold, reimburse yourself. So there's no delay whatsoever in getting your project built and redone. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Council, any further questions or thoughts?
Nope.
I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the first reading of, I hope I'm doing the right one, Resolution 2024-1994 BRP Architect City Hall Restoration.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
All right, 8.5, first reading of ordinance number 2024-3331, Aurora CWDL SRF bond.
Now this is a discussion
Yeah.
of SRF fund, so hand it to Eddie again.
The state revolving fund, we've been working on this behind the scenes with the city ever since you voted, well, about a year before it got voted. So we've been working and get the DDQ put together, which is all of the steps to get you approved through DNR, and you are approved through DNR. The state revolving fund is a program where the state of Missouri actually buys your issue, and that's what all of those documents are for, is for them to buy the issue. They have a fund in place that subsidizes your interest cost. So it's the cheapest way to finance a program out there. Right now, the interest rate, if it came today, and they don't set the exact interest rate until they sell the issue, which is going to be sometime this month. But if it came today, your interest rate would be 1.5% for 20 years. Now they do have some service fees that will make it equivalent to about a 2%, or it'd be under 2%. They never get that out exactly in advance, but it always is running somewhere around a 0.5%. So you have an issue 1 to 20 years at 2%. Everything has been ready to go. We're ready to, it just needs to be passed today, tonight to move it, to wrap it up. Again, I talked to the bond attorney, and that is Gilmore and Bell, who prepared everything. They're the ones who prepared everything for your last lease last year. They're the ones in charge of the SRF. They're just needing the signatures back, and they plan on closing this month.
And for those that don't understand exactly what this is for the remediation and rehabilitation of the current wastewater treatment.
Right.
These upgrades will allow the wastewater treatment plant to just fix and repair a lot of things that are in need, and then also do some updating. Will allow the wastewater treatment plant to be open for approximately another 15 to 20 years. That we can get another 15 to 20 years of use out of it.
All right, any questions?
Make a motion, we accept first reading of ordinance 2024-3331, the Aurora CW DL SRF bond.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
8.6, second reading of ordinance number 2024-3331 CWDL SRF bond.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2024-3331 CWDL SRF bond.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. All right, so the next two are related to, one's a plating and one is a rezone request, I believe. So we'll start with 8.7, first reading of ordinance number 2024-3332, preliminary plat of Silver Maple Estates, Plat 2.
Good evening, council. As Chairman Pro Tem Kennedy said, we have two agenda items here that are going to run kind of concurrent. So as you've seen come before you before, we have a plat request, and then depending on determination on that, we would move forward to that rezone request. So this is made by formal application from property owner Mike Seitz and his engineering representative Tim Shoey with Cochran Engineering. And this initial request is going to be in line with the first 11 by 17 document that you have before you. So we've printed those tonight just because I know sometimes when we're looking at them online, they're a little bit hard to see. So to give some explanation to this, when we originally did the Silver Maple Estates initial plat, there was a 10.03 acre lot within that area that was not part of that plat. So it wasn't identified as a lot, and it was not made of that, made a portion of that Silver Maple Estates plat. So this Silver Maple Estates Plat 2 is before you tonight, and this first document will show outlined in blue there the area that we are now making a part of this Plat 2. It identifies what is identified as lot number 1, the 10.03 acres. And this was submitted in line with city code and state statute, and all supporting documents were in line for the plat as it's presented, and staff recommendation is approval. We do have the representative, Mr. Shoey is here this evening, if you have any questions for him on this item. Recommendation from Planning and Zoning is approval on this one as well.
So I'm going to ask the obvious question here. So this is something that has always confused me a little bit. Can you give me a little bit of a rundown? So the platting is essentially just defining an area that is developable, right? And then the zoning is what can be done with that land.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and developable is kind of a heavy word in terms of a plat. So
Yeah.
it's still, we don't get to any of the topographic conversations, any of the land use conversations, zoning or anything like that. They're just simply making lots that are recordable at the county that says this lot is separate from the other properties within that area.
Right.
So that just identifies the lot, yes.
Okay.
So we're just identifying the 10-acre lot.
Correct. That's really the only change. There was some retitling, readdressing to some lots down there on that south side, but primarily that 10.03 acres was not identified as a parcel at all. It was just ground left, not within the plat for development
Okay.
at that time.
So I'll make a motion, we accept the first reading of ordinance 2024-3332, the preliminary plat of Silver Maple Estates.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
All right, 8.7, first reading of ordinance number 2024 sorry, we just did that one. 8.8, first reading of ordinance number 2024-3333, rezone request, Silver Maple Estates.
Council, this request comes to you by formal application from the same property owner, Mike Sight, so it's in relation to the 10.03 acre lot that we just discussed in the plat that was before you. If you go to the 11 by 17 page that is second, you'll see a red triangle that now identifies that 10.03 acres, and that is the only portion of that plat that they are requesting rezone of. So at this point, when we sent out our notices, and you'll see in the original planning and zoning agenda documentation that was provided to you in your agenda, that we sent notices to all property owners within 185 feet of the entire property that he still owns, because it hadn't yet been separated. So sometimes that poses a little bit of question, but until we had this lot separated via plat, we needed to identify that entire property owned. So with that being the case, I just want to clarify that the rezone request is solely for the 10.03 acre lot titled as lot number 1. They've made formal application in line with city code and state statute. And we did send, like I said, notices to all property owners within 185 feet of the entire property area. We did receive 2 letters that are in front of you this evening in opposition from property owners in that area. And in addition to that, you will see that we've received a petition also in opposition to that. So state statute and city code outlines that if we receive a petition, they have to meet 30% of the property owners within 185 foot. In opposition of that, for you to consider it as a formal accepted petition, and they have done that. So there were 21 property owners that were notified. That would mean that we were required to have 6, and they have met that threshold. What that means in terms of our city code and state statute is that you'd be required to have a 2/3 vote by council for this to pass if you were in support of it, and your 3 votes would meet that requirement. So it would be a standard vote as usual. Like I said, Mr. Shoei with Cochran Engineering is present this evening. I will yield to him, if the council doesn't have any questions for me, for him to present on behalf of the developer. And then, of course, I believe we do have public comment here for the same topic. Any questions for me at this point?
None for me.
Okay, I apologize. Thank you for reminding me of that. Planning and zoning, as you'll see in your agenda, Crystal's minutes are in there for you, the draft minutes from planning and zoning. And planning and zoning did recommend no approval. They recommended denial of this rezone request.
All right, before I get to my, well, sorry, let council, if they have any questions real quick.
No.
I'm gonna go ahead and let Mr. Phillips come up and provide his comment, or were you just here in support of this, or did you want to speak on this?
I just want to reiterate the fact that everybody in the neighborhood on Silver Maple Drive, all of the homeowners, we're all against this for multiple reasons that I have not listed. But if you read the minutes from the last, they're all speculated right there, you know. And I know that the people that built the houses at that time, the plat was not there, okay? The plans for this mobile home park was not there, okay? And Mr. Lewis had stated in there that he lives next to a mobile home park, but he did not state whether he moved in before or was the mobile home park already there when he bought his house. Now, what we're concerned about is the way it's going to be kept, the safety for us, the people that's going to be moving in there, how it's going to be kept up, and the lighting situation for one, and an egress. Guys, we need an egress, big time. Bigger one than what we've got now, because there's going to be a lot more traffic coming in and out. And just the homeowners in there, we never would have bought if we knew this was going to happen. So and we're concerned about, we have value in those homes. Okay, and will our value drop when this comes into play? I don't think it's gonna raise our house prices. If anything, they may stay the same, but I look forward to it to dropping. There is no way that this mobile home park can help the appraisal of our homes. And we bought these homes. You know, they're not $300,000, $400,000, $600,000 homes. They're a $200,000 home. 10 years ago, that house would have been $100,000. Okay, so, you know, and most of the guys that bought out there, they're all retired. You know, we can't go out and buy the type of homes that a lot of other folks in this town have bought. I don't see a reason, one, that would satisfy me deep down inside of my heart to put a mobile home park out there. For one, I don't think there's enough room to put, 35 units out there. I don't think there's going to be enough room. And again, with the noise ordinance, that's going to have to be done. It was stated that the owner will be in charge of taking care and putting in an HOA out there. I don't know if that's going to be done. I feel pretty bad. I mean, I moved into this town. I was born and raised in this town. I moved out in 1975, went into the military. Retired in California and came back and bought a home. And I run into this. So, please, see our side of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, council, do we have any questions for,
Can I say something? I'm sorry, I sprained my ankle, so I didn't want to walk up there, but I'm loud. I served on P&Z for a long time. Whenever P&Z recommends something, it takes 4 out of the 5 council members to overturn it.
did you have,
Proof
as
of vote
representative?
with, Reserve Municipal League.
No, I'm talking to the developer, sorry, or the representative for the developer.
Tim Shovey with Cochran Engineering. As Carrie had stated previously, this is rezoning for 10 acres of the Silver Maple Estates. On that 10 acres, the developer, we have prepared a preliminary conceptual plan showing 35 lots. That comes out to be roughly 3.5 units per acre. So the density will not be what you would typically see of a mobile home park. It would be much less than that. The proposed lots would be roughly 50 feet wide by 100 feet deep. This would vary, but the developer would own this entire tract. It would not be individual landowners for each parcel. With these 35 lots, there's a traffic concern. Looking at traffic studies for previous projects that we've done, you can expect roughly 1 car per minute during peak hours. So the increase in traffic would not be as large as one may expect. Another thing was the site lighting. There will be site lighting on the streets. These will be proposed to be private streets that the developer would maintain. As part of this development, there will be a HOA that all tenants would have to sign. Signing this, they're agreeing to, if they don't follow the rules, there will be a fine with that. Highlighted a couple of these items in the covenants and restrictions. Some of the items are pre-owned homes moving into the community must be approved by management and be a vinyl sided and shingled roof home and not older than 5 years old. Management staff shall be the only party authorized to designate where and how a resident's home is to be located in the community and on the home site. The owner will have a maintenance company taking care of all landscaping and mowing the grass. That will not be the responsibility of the tenant. All incoming homes must have stone mason skirting on the front of the home. Driving and parking in the community. Residents shall park only in their designated places. Parking on the street or outside of the designated driveway by residents or guests is not permitted. Guests and visitors who will be parking a vehicle at the community more than 5 days must register said vehicle with management. Utility trailers, travel trailers, and other recreational vehicles may not be parked in the drive or on the street outside any manufactured home for a period longer than 72 hours. For maintenance and appearance, resident agrees to keep the leased premise clear of toys when not in use, trash, debris, bicycles, and other items which may cause the area to look unkept or be unsafe. The owner is responsible for keeping the roadways within the community in good repair. Installation or placements of the following items on or at residents' home site are not permitted: swing sets, trampolines, swimming pools, basketball hoops, window-mounted air conditioner units, and any item that may endanger the health or personal property of other residents or guests. And then all fencing must be white vinyl in material and approved by management prior to placement. As part of this development, there would be a 6-foot privacy fence along the north side of the property line where it abuts the existing single-family residential homes. There would also be a 25-foot setback from the manufactured homes to where the existing single-family homes are located. And then here to answer any other questions that you may or may not have, may have.
What was your HOA fee?
There is not I'm not for sure what the HOA fee is yet. That has not been established.
So my thing, Carrie, they went through and did everything according to Hoyle to get this in there,
According to what, I'm sorry?
according to city code. I'm
Right.
sorry. So everything's above board. Citizens are just concerned about having the, how far away is it from their homes?
So the lots directly abut the rear of the Silver Maple Estate single family, but there would be a 25-foot setback between the property line and the proposed mobile homes.
Do we have any further questions for over here? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any discussion amongst council?
I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead, I think it's kind of plain, planning and zoning doesn't think it's a good idea. Obviously, the citizens don't think it's a good idea, so, I mean, I'm at a no right now. I'm not against development, but maybe the proper kind of development.
Another thing to think about, how many trailer parks do you already have in this town?
Yep.
And how many are you gonna see going past Aurora sign on 60?
Yep.
That would make number 2, that I know of.
And a 6-foot fence is not gonna do any good when we're 5 or 6 feet higher than property.
Hmm.
So we're gonna look right over it.
All right.
I'm glad I'm on the other side of the coin. I understand what they're saying too, but boy, we need some houses in here, and if the other ones had an HOA and a private fence and lights and stuff, that would be amazing.
Enforcing it is another thing, though.
All right, so as a reminder to everybody, the motions will be made in the affirmative. So I will make a motion to approve first reading of ordinance number 2024-3333, rezone request Silver Maple Estates. I need a second.
Second it.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion denied.
Yeah, that's last. 8.9, special event application, church picnic.
Council, this request comes by formal application from First Baptist Church here in Aurora. They are looking to do a church gathering event for just a meal and recreational use. They would like to use the softball field at White Park as well as the park restrooms. They would like to be open and access to the concession stand for the electricity. So with the use of the public utilities and the use of the fields, that's why this comes to you as a formal application for a special event. The date is September 22nd. From 4:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. It was discussed at the management meeting this morning, and there's no concerns from staff. Staff recommendation is approval.
All right,
I'll make a motion, we accept the special event application for the church picnic.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Thank you, council.
All right, staff reports, organizational business, city manager report.
Council, you have a copy of my manager's report. A couple of items worth of note are the police have received a DWI enforcement grant, and so they've been working through that. Basically, what that does is it pays for overtime. And Wes, correct me if I'm wrong on this, is it pays for overtime for our staff to work specialized DWI enforcement hours and stuff. It pays us for us to do that. And so, so far, that work has resulted in 9 DWI arrests in August. And they're still working through that because there's still funding available for that. Hazmat training in the fire department, that occurred last night. Fire staff will be attending trench and collapse training in coming weeks. I've shared that with you. Street department striping and pavement markings is complete around the community, and leaf pickup, they're going to be working on scheduling that as soon as they kind of get a feel for when things start really moving as far as the leaves, and we'll be advertising that as much as possible. Street sign vandalism and damage, that has kind of picked up in recent weeks, and so our staff is doing a lot of repairs of street signs around the community. Brush pickup is scheduled for next week. And one thing is that in the cemetery that we're working on is Brad and I have been working on a columbarium request for proposals. That is going out next week. We've been looking at a couple of different vendors and having discussions with them. The old style of columbariums really get into a situation where the entire thing is just great big monolithic granite architectural piece and stuff like that really weighs tons. And it actually comes down to is that it needs geotechnical work to look at what's underneath, so that if this thing is 30,000 pounds or whatever, that the land underneath it can take it. There's kind of a new style that is coming on and getting more popular. And Brad and I are going to go take a look at it, and we've got the specifications for that. And it's basically that it's an aluminum substructure underneath, an aluminum framing underneath, but then on the outside, it's a granite, basically veneer, if you will. The veneer is still, pretty thick, but it's substantially weighs a lot less, and we can put it on a standard 4-inch pad and stuff. The thing is that one of the things we find and we kind of like about it is that it gives us a little bit more options as far as what is there. Instead of needing to send the front panel off to get inscribed, they have metal plates that can be inscribed at just a jeweler and that sort of thing to put the names on. So it's quite a bit less cost option. And that we were also finding that one of these big, traditional columbariums could be well over $100,000 and stuff, and I think that was kind of pricing us out. This is actually a very substantially cheaper, so we're pretty happy with it, really impressed with what we're seeing. Brad and I are going to go take a look at, they have some in Joplin, we're going to go take a look at those and stuff, and to get a better understanding of those. So, but that's going to be going out in the next week so that we can provide you more information on that. Cemetery, again, mowing is slowed down between the weather, how cold it's been, and then also the dryness. They've been finishing up dead tree removal in White Park. You probably know that there was a major limb came down on top of the skate park restrooms, did some damage there. They've added a sidewalk to the White Park Lions Club Pavilion and have made that ADA compliant. The pool is drained and closed for the winter. The Recreation Center, construction updates, nothing big at this time. The furniture proposal were completed. We're waiting on SAP to bring that back with final proposal. Couple of new items to bring to your attention is that we're working on promotional items for the advertising. Rental facility fees, that'll be discussed by the park board next park board meeting and then brought to the council. The recreation programs coordinator, they have selected a candidate. I was out sick when those interviews took place. Kami, Carrie, and Anthony interviewed the candidates, and they selected a candidate that had, I think it was about 15, 18 years of 12 years of direct responsibility managing youth programs and recreational programs in the YMCA. And so they selected that candidate and have tendered a formal job offer to that individual. And since I wrote this, he has called back and said, yes, he is taking it. His name is? Jeremiah Schmidt. And so we're working out the details of when we'll be getting him on board. Fitness equipment requests for proposals that have gone out for advertisement based on the discussions that we've had about that. And so that list of equipment and everything that has gone out, and we'll be advertising that, and we'll be bringing those proposals. When we get those back, looking at the best one and bringing it for approval to begin conversations and negotiations with that vendor. Silver Sneakers has approved us for their program, so we'll be able to have them on board as soon as we open the doors. And sign work is moving forward, and the sign work will hopefully be getting going here pretty quick. Stormwater, we're working on setting up a meeting with property owners to discuss the next large stormwater project, and that is in the south part of town that basically empties into the big ditch in that area behind Maze and all of that kind of stuff is where that is located. So we'll be working with those property owners to discuss that as far as what we need to do there. So wastewater. Was there a question? Okay. Wastewater pre-construction meeting is being scheduled for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade project. And so we'll be, the big kickoff won't be starting on that until probably after the first of the year, but we're already getting started, getting the contractor on board with that and to get that stuff worked out. The MML conference, many staff will be out of the office. Council members will be, many council members will be going to that September 15th through the 18th down in Branson. Staff are being scheduled for flu shots and also scheduling tetanus shots for all of our public safety and trade staff. MPR, our insurance company, has been assessing our facility roofs for the hail damage from a hailstorm. And the tentative fence plan was accepted. I used the wrong accepted by the school district, and so we're working through the bid process on that. Probably their biggest concern is they want to make very sure that what was presented to them is actually what council is going to approve and what is going to be installed. And so one of the things that we're looking at from that standpoint is the possibility of coming to you and having a discussion with you about that as far as what our current procurement policy would allow us to do to ensure that we're working with this vendor and stuff. So Lawrence County Extension Office, they had a economic development summit that was well attended and very informative. I believe Carrie said that there was about 75 people there. Downtown cleanup on September 7th went very well. About 45 people assisted with that. The Aurora Downtown Project Community Survey, that will be reviewed on September 12th at 3 o'clock here in City Hall. So if anybody is interested in that,
That date is incorrect. It's tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Good.
And that's my fault. It's in both reports incorrectly. I apologize.
okay, tomorrow.
Mine is incorrect too.
So 11th, tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Correct.
Board of Zoning Adjustment meeting is scheduled for September 23rd. Community Christmas meeting, those meetings have begun, and the spooktacular is August 31st, trick-or-treating around downtown, and the special event information will be coming to the council at the next meeting on that. So, and that is all I got. Any questions from the council?
Thank you, John. All right. Having nothing else on the list here, I will take a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. You know how I roll.
Three's too short.
Thank